What's happening, y'all? So, a lot of comments, a lot of questions, a lot of confusion already in the comments in the comment section from the video I just posted about the two things that we can do to improve the PBA. I didn't go into a whole lot of detail on that because I was going to make additional videos, but I guess this is a perfect opportunity to make additional videos. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through some of the comments to kind of clarify where my head was at. Maybe it'll help people understand a little bit, and then to maybe kind of throw some friendly debate back and forth at some of the comments that I don't necessarily agree with. So stay tuned. All right, so we're going to take a look at some of these comments here, and we're going to scroll through and kind of go through this. I think there's some confusion on some of the things that I said that maybe people aren't understanding where I was going with this. But let's see if there was. Let's start here at Scott Stewart's comment. Definitely agree about the commentary. When a guy like Belmo, Troop, Norm, etc. are in the booth, quality of commentary and my interest in hearing what they have to say goes through the roof. When it's just two old guys doing play-by-play and simply stating the name of the balls and the name of the pattern while saying stuff like tattoos the pocket, I find myself fast forwarding after every shot and basically skipping through the whole thing. Just to see the result. It's consistently a lack of interesting stuff being talked about unless a pro is in the booth. Bowling is so much more complex than it seems to be on the surface level. So I can understand why the PBA wants to try to dumb it down. Yes, that I agree with a little, but I think it's time to reverse direction and try promoting the game based on its complexity rather than trying to hide it. I 100% agree with that last part. The complexity is what makes the game interesting because people think it is literally just a game of throwing a round object at some pins and knocking them down. They have no idea about the basics of just the bowling balls or anything in general. And I'm not saying that we need to go into talking about the bowling balls every single dang show, but maybe there needs to be 5-second little clips that give you basic details in key spots and not using the same clip. Create a new clip every single show so that way it can be interesting and keeps the viewers attracted. Because I heard somebody, and we'll probably get to their comment a little bit later, but somebody had made a comment talking about how the only people that watch bowling are avid fans or hardcore bowlers already. And that, so they already know most of the stuff about bowling, which that couldn't be the furthest thing from the truth. The people watching bowling, shoot, so many people in the PBA that bowl PBA tournaments don't understand layouts. They don't understand RG and differential. They don't like, and maybe we don't need to go into details about RG and differential to teach that stuff, but in the show, they could probably highlight certain things, coaching like Brad and Kyle say, hey, if you guys want to learn more about the RG and differential, the details of bowling, go see JR Raymond's YouTube channel or Brad and Kyle's YouTube channel or whoever's YouTube channel, or you can get a hold of coaching, find a partnership with a coach, Mark Baker, email Mark Baker here and he'll teach you more, whatever it may be. Or maybe the PBA needs to have a whole separate section on the website that is dedicated to simply explaining the game, showing all the details and the intricacies. Like, let me run the PBA YouTube channel. Like, let me go in and create all the content for that. Like, that would be, in my opinion, I think that would be the best thing. So many people go to the PBA website, they could be directing people to a separate section that explains out all those details only for the people that actually want to know. So you don't have to go into these details in the shows necessarily every single time. That's just my opinion, though. My favorite show here from Will says is the old documentary style Cheetah Championship, where they had match play brackets showing with a lot of player interviews, having things culminate into Simonelli versus Duke at the end with the best of 7. I don't think it'd be good to do every show, but it could happen once or twice a year, getting more people to watch this. Yeah. So I agree with that. I think that was one of the best shows that the PBA ever created because it was so much like golf. It was a lot like golf where you're kind of following players. You're getting some inside info. You're seeing things you don't normally get to see if you're not at the tournament. I think that was a really good idea. If I remember correctly, Tom Clark said that was one of the most expensive shows to produce, so they couldn't do that after that one, and it didn't produce the viewership that they hoped it would. So it just, return on investment didn't make sense to continue doing shows like that. So I understand why they haven't done another one since. I would like to see, maybe they could get Bull TV involved to doing more stuff like that. Like when Extra Frame was around, or Flow Bowling, when they did like the documentary on Simonson and stuff, like little things like that needs to be done more often. And I know like stuff like that actually costs money to produce, but at the end of the day, you're actually creating content for the bowlers. Like all the stuff that I produce, a lot of that stuff, it costs money. It's not exactly just free to do all this stuff. It costs money for the cameras and the laptops, the SD cards, constantly replacing stuff. And there's a lot to it. So drilling balls, all the materials that go into the balls and all that stuff. So the bowling balls themselves, like everything, there's money involved. So, but I think more behind the scenes type stuff would be amazing. I think that would be great. So they could do a tail of the tape screen before each match showing the bowlers' base stats involving their layouts. I like that. And use the ball reps during the game. Yeah, and some people were saying we don't need to hear from the ball reps, and they shouldn't even be using ball reps. Like timeout. First of all, the ball reps really don't do much. The whole point that, like, the ball reps what ball reps are good for at PBA events is for watching pairs and giving you inside information about how the pairs are playing. This person said this pair's tighter, or this lane's tighter than that lane. There's a hook spot on this lane. Like, be careful of this. This person used urethane on this pair, so it's going to be a little tighter. Stuff like that. A little bit information from them that you can't see heading into that pair. They're not really sitting back there saying, okay, it's time to change balls. You've got to change into this ball. Like, they'll make suggestions like that every once in a while, but very rarely. Most of the time, they're just going to be telling you about the pair, or they're going to say, maybe get your hand around it a little bit more and go left, some little tiny things like that. When they're on the TV show, the ball reps are basically just there for, like, affirmation for the bowler. Like, the bowler's throwing shots, looking at this, saying, I think this needs to be here. And the ball rep's basically going to be like, yeah, I agree. They're not going to say, no, I think you need to do this, because the ball rep doesn't want to be put in a situation to where they were wrong. And then they just cost the bowler, a chance to win. None of the ball reps feel good when they tell somebody wrong advice or something that wasn't necessarily the best advice for the bowler. So they try not to give very much advice when it comes to that stuff. But what I'm talking about with the ball reps being mic'd up, it has nothing to do with going into details of a lot of the stuff or giving inside info as far as, telling them what to do. I want the ball reps to be mic'd up so Randy can be like, all right, let's call him Jeff. All right, Jeff, what are you seeing down there? What's going on here? I've seen, Simo threw the ball and he did this, that, and the other, those first 3 frames. I saw you guys talking. What were you talking about? And I know they've done something like that before. What's the move here? Is he moving? Is he changing balls? What ball is he throwing? Do like a 20-second little thing in between a shot, to where the ball rep can be like, yeah, he just changed balls. He went from a phase 2 to a TNT. Layout's a little bit different. We tried to go with something pin up, try to get it to come off the spot just a little bit more, see the friction a little bit harder, and just kind of go into a few details. It doesn't need to be a long drawn out, well, this is why, it's a high RG, low diff ball, we're trying to get it to flare less and get down the lane a little bit more. And we're trying to create this specific shape. And if you're really watching, you don't need to do all that. We just need little details into it, because how many times have we heard Randy get on the show and be like, I'm not sure. I think he switched balls. I'm not sure. Let me get some info for you and find out if I can find out what ball that is. And sometimes he's actually even gotten it wrong. So that's where having the ball reps on a microphone or mic'd up would be really good, because then they can just give that info and be like, I think that was a ball change. Let me double check. Let's get Jim on the line. Jim, what's going on? What was that, a ball change? What ball is that? And, oh yeah, that was a ball change. He went to the TNT instead of the phase 2. And that's the perfect opportunity there. And my other thing was, small education on, I think they just need to emphasize how different it is on the PBA tour or on some of these tough patterns versus the league bowling. People just don't get it. I can name off thousands and thousands of instances where I've heard people, or other people have heard people say, this guy's just shot 180 on TV. Shoot, my buddy averages 230. Maybe I should tell him to go pro. Or people ask, you average 230? Why aren't you a pro? stuff like that. There's a reason behind it, and you don't see like stuff like that. Like you ask somebody, "Oh, you're a scratch golfer. Why don't you go pro?" Well, because people know why you don't go pro. Because it takes a whole lot more than being a scratch golfer just to go play in the PGA. Even at the grassroots, like it takes a whole lot more than just being a scratch golfer at your local clubs to be able to go play on the PGA tour. There's just so much that goes into it. And the benefit of the PGA versus the PBA, in the PGA, you can see all the stuff that's in the way. You can see the trees, you can see the bunkers, you can see the high grass, you can see, the hills and the valleys on the greens and stuff like that, and the dangers of if you hit the ball here, it's going to be very dangerous. Like I like watching PGA events because a lot of times they'll give you the overview, the sky overview of certain holes, and they'll be like, check this out, this treacherous dog leg left. You got sand over here and you got water over there. And if once you get to the green, you really want to land the ball on this part of the green, because if you land it here, that's a really tough putt. Stuff like that. What they're looking for, what they're trying to accomplish. If you lay up, you're going to hit it here. They're going to try to get it from here to there. They're going to start with a driver and they're going to try to get it to where it's a 9-iron into the green. Little stuff like that. And yeah, they do talk about the equipment. They talk about the clubs that they use. Are they going into the detail? Oh, this club has deeper grooves, or it's on the cusp of being illegal. No, they don't talk about stuff like that. Just like on the PBA, they don't talk about, oh, this ball's super soft. It's on the cusp of being illegal or being too soft. We don't talk about stuff like that. But the little details is what matters. The little things, and doing it in an eloquent way of dumbing it down, but not making it too dumb to where it's boring for the bowlers who already understand. You have to make it to where the bowlers who somewhat understand can appreciate that little bit of info and not be like, that was dumb. Why would you even say it like that? Like that's what we don't want. So when you got guys talking about, the puns and tattooed the pocket and stuff like that, and that ball went out for, burger and fries and came back with steak and baked potato. Like, come on. Stuff like that it was funny the first time, but he's got to come up with new stuff. Like he's got to be constantly coming up with something, because the same things over and over again, it's just boring. Like every time we see somebody leave a big four, on cue, it's going to be, oh, who's the one person that's only made this on TV one time ever, right? And it's almost like the other commentator always gets annoyed too, and they're just like, oh, I know, Walter Ray, right? Let me guess. It's something like we hear it every single time. Or they leave a 710. The last person to make the 710, who that was, right? Yes, we know it was the ginger assassin, or whatever they call him. Ginger ninja. I don't know. Whatever. But you know what I'm saying. Anyway, let's move on to some comments here. They need to embrace who they are and what they are, and never be ashamed of being the PBA in bowling. Don't play music to try to be the NBA or MLB. Look to the old school broadcasts and make them more like those. Bowling broadcast and golf style works. It heightens the drama and lets things happen organically. Also, bring back a Bo Burton style tip of the week. I agree with the tip of the week. I don't agree with the rest of it, because today's modern viewers don't want to see that boring traditional view. Like it's boring. Look at darts. Have you ever watched a dart tournament on TV? Like that was some of it's just so ridiculous. They throw the dart and they hit triple 20 and it's like, oh, the whole crowd. The second one, oh, even louder. The third one, they go nuts. Like it's absolutely insane watching those dart tournaments. Granted, they're all probably hammered, but and this may be an unpopular opinion, but like with Bayside and the crowd there making their chants and stuff, I think that's a little ridiculous. Like I mean, I like the noise. I like that they get hype into it and stuff, but it sounds like a softball team. Sounds like a girls softball team trying to make these chants and stuff. Like it's really weird to me. So, but getting loud is great. Like getting excited and everything. So I think that's one way to go, but that's just me. JR, I think most league bowlers don't know the game or what most bowling balls do. They do not. Having a ball rep make comments would be interesting, but be more interesting if they knew why the bowler is using the ball. Yeah, I don't really care about the details about the ball. I just want them to be able to say, look, AJ or let's say Tommy Jones. Tommy Jones, he's this style bowler. His axis tilt is a little bit higher than some of the other players. And when the axis tilt gets higher, generally it gets down the lane a little bit further. So he's going to tend to use a little. I'm just making this stuff up. I haven't really paid any attention, but he's generally going to tend to use a ball that's a little bit stronger. That's going to start up a little bit quicker. That's why he went to the game breaker. And now he's throwing that game breaker. It's got some surface on it. He took the surface, he dulled it up a little bit. That'll get the ball to start a little bit quicker, get it to start rolling sooner. Because as you guys know, there's oil on the lane. When you see the blue oil out there, there's different depths of the oil. There's different volumes all across the lane, and just go into detail about that stuff. You don't have to make it a long drawn out thing, but just real quick, talk about why they're using that ball. And then kind of compare it to if he would have went to a shiny ball. And that's why he's not using a shiny balls, because then it would get down lane too far. It would come behind the head pin. And that's when you start seeing corner pins or things that just are a little bit weird. You want to try to get the ball rolling before, actually rolling, not skidding in the oil, but rolling before it actually gets to the end of the pattern or before it gets to the pins. Stuff like that. Just little things can be very informative, and people can be like, I had no idea. I didn't know that. I didn't know bowling was so complex. Every time I run into somebody and they ask me what I do and I tell them about bowling and stuff, and they're like, oh, like I didn't know people could do that. Like, yeah. And then you kind of go into some of the intricacies and they're just like, wow, I had no idea bowling was like that. Well, yeah, exactly. Most people don't. I think your suggestion for improving the popularity of the PBA on TV are perfect for the dedicated, knowledgeable bowlers. Those guys understand the arcane jargon. Yeah, but we need to. And that's where I'm saying you don't want to dedicate the shows to those bowlers. You want to dedicate the shows to people who don't normally watch bowling. So you do have to dumb it down. But at some point, you have to be a little bit more specific and detailed. So that way, that dumbed down stuff eventually starts to make more sense. So you dumb it down and lead them into how it makes more sense in a more specific or a more scientific way. There's ways to do it. Doubt national TV will do this. In my opinion, the average league bowler doesn't know any better and honestly doesn't want to invest time to know. I agree, but they do watch the shows. Maybe they won't invest time to go and watch, my videos that's trying to explain bowling so much. But if it pops in on the TV show real quick, some little nugget that just will stick in the back of their head to where they understand, then maybe they'll start to learn a little bit more. For the one that's more advanced and striving to be better, maybe hosting a Facebook or YouTube watch party. That I'm thinking about doing. Obviously, I can't do it today. I wish I could do it today for the title match of the PBA Championship, but maybe I'll do it for some of the other stuff that's coming up soon. I know I can't like live stream the live show from my computer. It blacks it out, so I'll have to have a camera facing the TV and then do it kind of that way. And then I can't just have it on there the whole time. We'll just kind of have to bounce back and forth and talk a little bit. But yeah, we might actually do that. That would be pretty cool. For years, I've been expressing that the commentator should talk more about what type of equipment they are using, layouts, and pitches. The pitches, not so much, because everybody's different, because what works for one person doesn't work for the next. So you don't necessarily want to go into the details of that stuff, because, one person could be using a quarter forward and a thumb. And then you're going to have somebody be like, oh, well, mine's 3/8 reverse. Maybe I'll go try a quarter forward. And then they end up dislocating their thumb or something. You don't want to do that. Stop talking about nicknames, junkyard dog. Stop talking about the things that don't belong in bowling. I agree with that. Yes, have a ball reps with the mic so we can hear what they talk to the bowlers about, the changes, the type. Yeah, that's something I agree. Having them mic'd up to where you can click in and just turn their mic on and you can listen into them and just let them know that you keep that they're on mic and you can hear them. That would be a key point there. Randy may be the expert, but producers have him kneecapped with their version. Maybe so. I think have tourneys and show where there are no oil on the lanes. Yeah, definitely need to explain the oil a little bit better. That's for sure. Ball rep should be graded. Also, if they are always wrong, make it known. It would be funny to see reps suggest wrong at the end of the tournament. Reps may be able to continue following the tour or sent home. Huh, interesting. I think there's a question that needs to be asked. Bowling needs to be more interesting to whom? To the non-bowler, to the person that's not necessarily in bowling. It's televised on Fox, and PBA tries to align itself with NASCAR and the WWE fan base. I don't think that demographic really wants to know more about ball layouts and lane conditions if they aren't bowlers themselves. It's not that they want to know about it. I don't care that they don't want to know about it. It's that you have to introduce it to improve knowledge. That just like in any other sport or any other game, you have to improve their knowledge so that way they can learn to respect it more. Again, it's got to be short, it's got to be sweet. You don't want to lose their attention span. It just has to be quick little clips that give them information on certain things so they can pay attention. If you're going to have a 20-minute, if you're going to cut the show off to go into a 5 or 10-minute spiel about bowling, they're probably going to turn the channel. That's what you don't want. You want to keep them engaged. Me being a bowling enthusiast does not need to hear about balls and lane conditions on every telecast. Nope, we don't need to do it every single telecast, just little nuggets. It's boring to me and would be boring to the casual fan. It would not be boring to the casual fan because most casual fans have no idea that there's even a core in the ball, let alone that the balls are made of different things. Most bowling fan or most people who aren't fans of bowling have no idea that there's different types of bowling balls. Just like there's a lot of golfers that have no idea that there's different types of golf balls. Like there's so much that goes into it that nobody has a clue about. It's just those little things that they can then, when they go bowl with their friends, they go to a tournament or they go to the open bowling, they go, "Hey, did you guys know that there's actually cores inside of these things?" And they would just talk about it. They'll have this little nugget. All I'm saying is people tune in to watch the sporting event, not the segment that deal with the science behind the sport. Yeah, I agree. But again, we're not going into big detail. You're just doing little nuggets to entertain people or to teach people. More serious announcers and focus on the drama more. Yeah, I think they need to manufacture drama. Like everybody still knows about the Belmo rash bottle thing. Like, how is there not more stuff like that? How are they not trying to create more stuff like that? Like, make somebody a bad guy, honestly, like they did with Pete. They made Pete a bad guy in a way, and he drew more viewers than anybody else ever. That it's just how it is. That's the way it goes. People want drama. I hate that, but people want drama. Manufactured. I don't know if I even have an example of some type of drama, but talk about people getting into arguments or somebody coming down and yelling at somebody on the approach or whatever it may be. Certain little things like that. Have people talking crap. Like I know everybody's out there trying to protect their image and nobody wants to look like a bad guy or look like an asshole. But you know what? We need assholes. We need people who look like them. We need people who actually are jerks. We need people that do that type of stuff. It's not about winning or losing as long as you have fun. Some loser somewhere. I agree. It was fun winning a champion. Get people out of the hobby mindset. Yep. See, I don't like this comment. Only hardcore fans watch bowling, so there is no need to explain this stuff every telecast. And Randy sure doesn't want to be a robot. No, Randy doesn't need to be a robot. But again, like I said, it just needs to be little clips, little things that you insert in key moments. Honestly, it can prove they stop showing the same 5 bowlers all the time. They're not showing the same 5. Those are the same 5 that keep making shows. It's just how it goes. Wow. Get rid of Randy and Tom Clark. That would double viewership instantly. Also, get Duke and Barnes and Voss. Stop wasting money on Kimberly. Her modeling days are long gone. Make bowling the man's game again. Yeah, I don't know if I agree with the whole Tom Clark thing. But because he's actually kind of resurrected bowling. He's done an awful lot to get bowling where it is, the Fox deal and stuff like that. Like he's actually gotten it to where they're on TV more often than they were for a while. So I don't know if I agree with that. I'm not going to make a comment about Randy though. They need new commentators again. I'm not going to make comment on that. Ditch the colored oil on the lanes. No, see, I like the colored oil on the lanes if they can find a way to make it to where you can really see the difference between where there's heavy oil and where there's basically no oil or very little oil. Because the way most of the patterns look, even with the color in it, is it still looks like a house shot because it still tapers to the middle. It looks like it's a house shot, even though it's not. So they just don't look. They just look the same. Stop with the stupid song clips after every strike. Yeah, maybe not after every strike, but they could definitely do some better introductions and stuff. The awkward zoom in on the face. Yeah, I don't like that either. It makes the bowlers feel awkward. Like some bowlers are just so they try to force being entertaining and they're just not good at it. I'm not going to name names, but there's a certain bowler I can think of that it kind of annoys me when they try to do their little there's a couple of them actually when they try to do their little key phrases or the things that they always do. They just look so forced. It doesn't look. It was kind of like when Pete Weber did the whole Hulk smash on the ground and he punched the ground. Like that was so forced. It was so awkward when he did that. Like I didn't like that at all. But when he came up with his own crotch chop and he did that all the time, like that was organic. That was awesome. Half of the screen being yellow and multicolored text, and the other half being generic bowling with your face and random music. Oh wait, this is just somebody with a bad comment. You are trying way too many video content types at once. Shut up. Go away. Wrong, wrong, and wrong. First, no bowler should be able to talk to a ball rep during the show. And my comment to that was, so then you're saying golfers shouldn't have caddies either? And he actually said, no, well, they should only carry the bags. It's like, all right, I guess, if you say so. Says he finds qualifying and match play more interesting. Race to 2 is terrible. One ball roll off is worse. Whatever. Times have changed. There's nothing you do to make people watch bowling. Yeah, I disagree with that. Completely disagree with that. So, I don't know. Yeah. And to the person that was like, get rid of the yellow screen and stuff, you'd rather just this to where you're just looking at me talking instead of being able to, that keeps people's visual. That keeps people actually engaged, seeing different random stuff like that. I know you don't like it. Or would you just want a black screen with just me talking and then words across the screen? Got to change it up. Got to do different things. If you don't like it, I don't care. Go away. Simple as that. I'm always going to tell you how I feel. I'm always going to tell you if, the way things are. So I don't know. There's a lot that can be done. Creating drama is the most important thing. Um, people mention the WWE and stuff like that. I agree. It doesn't have to be all fake like that, but coming up with some little things is kind of cool. Like the drama of the water bottle, Watergate, stuff like that. It was pretty neat. Stuff like that is important. That's why people tuned in to watch Pete Weber, because they knew he was going to start some crap. He knew he was going to do something that was just ridiculous. So we need more stuff like that. I don't know why. Like Tom Clark should be paying people to do stuff like that. Like they basically told Pete to act out, and they were, in my opinion, I think they basically said, do whatever you want as long as you're not like flipping off the crowd or cussing all over the place, and we'll pretend to fine you, but we won't actually fine you. We'll take it out. We'll do it ourselves, type of thing. They need to do that. Like Tom Clark needs to go up to Belmo and be like, I know Belmo would never do it because he wants to protect his his good boy image, but anybody like True, look, I need you to, the next time you miss or when you get into a tough key situation, I need you to throw the chair. I need you to walk back, grab the chairs that we supply for you and just knock it over or something. Just throw it, or somebody kick the ball return. Like, I don't know. I'm just trying to come up with something. I don't really care what it is. Just anything would be interesting. Sure, the person would look like an idiot, but whatever. That's what it's about. That's all. That's viewership and everything. So you win some, you lose some. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. It's rare, but it happens. So anyway, I'm getting out of here. Half-hour video here, but now maybe this explains a couple things. Give me some more detail. Give me some info. What else do you want to see that could be different? Let me know. But until next time, we'll see you guys later.